36-year-old Nicole Giray is a member of the Ladies Professional Golf Association and has been for 13 years. But concentrating on her game became more and more difficult due to narcolepsy, a condition where a person's sleep and awake cycles are constantly interrupted.
I was diagnosed with narcolepsy in the height of my career. I was falling asleep all the time, and I would go to doctors and try to figure out what was wrong with me, and everybody kept saying that I just led a crazy lifestyle.
Yeah, sleep is controlled by an internal clock. The brain actually has a little pacemaker behind the eyes. You have neurotransmitters in that pacemaker that fire. It's almost like an electrical circuit. That goes out to relay stations, and those relay stations have neurotransmitters or chemicals that relay this signal. And so the brain wakes up at a certain time. That signal lasts for a certain number of hours, and then when it begins to wear off, it shuts off, and another circuit inhibits wakefulness and promotes sleep.
Narcolepsy disrupts this function, and excessive daytime sleepiness is usually the first, most obvious symptom. But there are other symptoms that can be disturbing and very frightening, like cataplexy.
And cataplexy is the sudden loss of muscle tone or the development of muscle weakness, usually triggered by a strong emotional stimulus. More often than not, that emotional stimulus is laughter, happiness, joy, surprise. Sometimes it can be negative things like anger, fright, loud noises, but typically it's good things.
I was playing in a golf tournament, and whenever I would hit a good shot, I couldn't move afterwards. And I would stand there, and I was worried I was going to fall to the ground. And I was very worried because I thought there was, a life-threatening condition. I wasn't sure what was wrong with me.
While many narcoleptics have cataplexy, not all of them do. Some have another symptom called automatic behavior.
I call it living in the twilight zone. If you were to stay up all night and try to function the next day, then you're tired and you're sleepy, and sometimes they'll have automatic activity. They may do something and not exactly remember that they did that, even drive.
I walked into the men's john one time, and the guy said, "You're not supposed to be in here." And I said, "Well, why not?" And he said, "You're in the men's room." Oh, I was asleep. I had no idea what I was doing. So those were things that I used to do all the time.
There are treatments available that can make living with narcolepsy easier.
The medications that we have tend to improve alertness and stop the episodes of emotionally induced muscle weakness. The ones that improve alertness tend to stimulate the cell groups in the brain that are important for keeping us awake. So they're not actually correcting the loss of the chemical, they're just aiding in our ability to remain awake.
Thanks to a combination of therapies, Nicole now has her narcolepsy under control.
I'm not falling asleep when I drive. I'm not falling asleep on the golf course ever. I never do that anymore. I've learned how to pay attention to my body and learned what keeps me more awake.